Dave, good morning. Let's start with the new guy,
Or
Carson
Mike.
Coleman. Already a ton of energy in this new session, and he said he was happy to be here and had a great talk. He said with you guys as coaches, you mentioned the elements he brings on Monday before the game, and now that you have him here in the building and on the ice, what first caught your eye with on how he's finding a way to fit in?
Well, really, Mike didn't try to overanalyze anything today. He's had a lot going on over the last couple of days. I'm sure a lot of emotions a couple of days ago, and then getting situated travel wise across the country and everything. That all being said, he dove into practice today, and had a real good day. And exactly. Exactly what we know about him. I mean, he brings great energy, skates really well. He does everything at a real high speed and a high level, and that's what he did today in a short practice. So, it was a short introduction for him, but it was good to get him in with our group.
Marissa.
Yeah, what's the status of Alexiak was on the ice today, and also Keegan working on the line in the red jersey. How close is he to getting close to getting back?
Yeah, good to see Morgan in a red jersey, but I don't doesn't really portray a timeline or anything. If he's ready to go over the next few days, we'll get him in. If not, he'll just continue to work at getting back. We'll reevaluate that later today and again tomorrow. With Alexiak, he was just out sick today, non-COVID, but just out ill today.
Andy.
Hey Dave, I'm curious when you bring a guy like Coleman in mid-season who wasn't in camp with you, what's that onboarding process like for a new guy like that? Getting him confident and secure in your system, what you want him to do on the ice.
Yeah, Andy, everybody's a little bit different. Probably the biggest thing is making sure that a player doesn't feel overloaded mentally. There's a lot going on, in their personal lives. Obviously, a lot of change is happening, and then stepping onto the ice. You're not going to grasp everything within a system, on day number one. So everybody's a little bit different. I think with Carson, we can give him quite a bit. I think he's a pretty cerebral player. I think he understands a lot of the systems that we are playing. I think he's very familiar with. So we'll get the basics in place, and then we'll build quickly from there. Obviously, at this time of year, you have to have detail to your game, but that will come quickly for Cooley.
Allison.
Hi, Dave. Thanks for your time. Ryan Donato obviously had a very impactful game last game, but on the season as a whole, how have you seen his play evolve, and what more is there still for him to develop, in your opinion?
Yeah. He had a huge impact on our game 2 nights ago. With the goal that the game tying goal. Obviously, the shootout goal was a heck of a play. Probably the biggest thing that he just continues to push is the complete 200-foot game, and he's been very committed to that. He's been one of the most willing players, in terms of working at his game, his play without the puck, his play with the puck. Anything you ask him to work at, he's doing, and he's pretty resourceful in looking at his own game, and he's got an inner toughness to him. He can take direct information, whether it's positive or negative, and he can factor it into his game. And I think that's a huge strength. He has a pretty good inner self-confidence, and I think that helps him, in his drive to improve in the areas that we're asking him to improve in. I'll be honest with you, he's working hard defensively, and he's had a good impact for us offensively, and pretty consistently so.
Scott Mullen.
David, another guy who's had a big impact on you guys of late has been Jared McCann. It seems like these last few games he's been much more assertive with and without the puck. Wondering if you could sort of peel back the curtain a bit on what you think has led to that assertiveness, and if there's anything more you'd like to see from Jared.
Yeah, again, just a guy that's he continues to grow his game. He's played center before. He obviously has experience as a centerman in this league and previously in his career. Yet for a good chunk of time, he was back and forth between the middle and left wing. We've had him up the middle now, for a good stretch. I don't know the exact number of games, so I won't tell you that. But he's had that consistent role, consistent line mate with Ebbs, and now with JoJo on the left side. They've had a good run together. And that, I believe that all goes into confidence as an individual player and the chemistry that you have with your line mates. So we're seeing that. Ganner has impacted us, offensively very much, very consistently throughout the year. Also now, we're seeing on nights where, he's not scoring a goal or the offense isn't coming easily. He's effective up and down the ice, in a 200-foot roll. So we want to see that continue to growing, and obviously we're happy to see that as as a real focus in his game.
Number 2 more, let's go Bob Condor.
Hey Dave, a couple games back, maybe 3, you mentioned getting more pucks on the net, more shots on goal. Are you feeling in a pretty good place recently in that regard?
Well, we were better the other night, in terms of chances and quality of chances, no question. We didn't get much done against LA, Bob. Just being blunt, we weren't able to provide enough on the offensive side, and those are things that we talked about, on those nights when you're playing against a heavy structured defensive team. You have to find ways to win more pucks. I talked about it after the game, and we were able to do that a couple nights ago against Chicago, and that's going to be a continued focus for us, in terms of looking at areas that we can improve in terms of providing offense for ourselves. And there's a lot of different areas that we can continue to grow, and that'll be something that we continually talk about through the next 40 plus games.
Last one here, Mike Benton.
Hey Dave, Carson mentioned Jay Leach as a resource from past connections that he's had in the Bruins system. With Leachy on your staff, how resourceful has he been to figure out the best way for guys like Carson to thrive here?
Well, everybody on staff is real important in that role, and Leachy is one of the guys that, he's got a ton of depth to him, cares an awful lot about every individual player, so it's not just Carson coming in. But in this case, no question with the past relationship, as a player coach, in Boston system, I think that's a awesome resource for Carson coming in. And not only that, Carson's got a couple of ex-teammates also, right? He's got Losey that he can lean on a little bit. He's got Seuss, who they were teammates back in college. So those are important connections coming in when you walk into a new dressing room, and I'm sure those will be good ones for Cooley to be able to lean on along with Leachy.
All right, thanks Dave. Appreciate it.
Great, thank you.